It's amazing. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Therefore, like I mentioned, you have three qiblas. Qibla of your body, physical qibla. Qibla of your mind, and qibla of your heart. What surprises me is that you'll go and you'll find him, he's rotating, he's circumambulating around this Kaaba. Yet in essence, he doesn't know why he's doing it. Notice what Rasulullah says about Ali ibn Abi Talib. He says, Aliyun fiikum kal-Ka'bati fil Islam. This is an unbelievable hadith. He's comparing Ali ibn Abi Talib to the Kaaba. What does he say? He says, Aliyun fiikum kal-Ka'bati fil Islam. Ali to you, right? Ali to you is like the Kaaba in Islam. What is Rasulullah highlighting to us in this hadith? He's telling you Kaaba is just one piece of the equation. After you rotate it around this Kaaba, it's your duty to go and understand the purpose of it. And that purpose won't be found except in Ahlul Bayt. Except in Ahlul Bayt. For me to come and say I love the Quran, but I don't love Ahlul Bayt, doesn't make sense. Likewise, for me to say I love Ahlul Bayt, but I don't love the Quran, doesn't make sense. إني تارك فيكم الثقلين كتاب الله ما إن تمسكتم بهما لن تضلوا بعدي أبدا. Rasulullah tells the people, I am keeping for you after my death two weighty things. What is it, Ya Rasulullah? Kitabullah. Did he stop there? Didn't stop there. وَعِتْرَةِ أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. They come hand in hand. Why? Because for me to understand the Quran, I need to go to Ahlul Bayt. And for me to understand Ahlul Bayt, I need to go to the Quran. When I want to understand Allah, I go to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Why? Babullah, the door of Allah. Because how am I supposed to understand Allah? We are limited human beings. Understand this. We are limited. And it's impossible for the limited to encompass the unlimited. Correct? We are finite. The finite can't encompass the infinite. Therefore, what did Allah do? He sent to individuals who manifested His meanings and manifested His glory throughout their actions. How? When I want to understand sabr, Allah is sabur. When I want to understand patience, I go to Imam Al-Kadhim alayhi salam. And instantly I understand what sabr is. 14 years. Imam is imprisoned in the jail cell. When I want to understand, for example, sacrifice, I go to Imam Hussein. When I want to understand generosity, Allah is Kareem, I go to Imam Al-Hasan alayhi salam, Kareem al-Muhammad. And when I want to understand rahmah, I go to Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Therefore, you find that the Kaaba is supposed to generate you to go to something greater. It's a means, not an end. It takes you to something greater for you to comprehend, for you to understand. And that's why Imam al-Sadiq salawatullahi salamu alayhi, he says, he says, من زار جدي الحسين عارفا بحقه كمن زار حج بيت الله الحرام 70 مرة. Look at this hadith. He says, he who visits the shrine of my grandfather Hussein, recognizing his value. Imam al-Sadiq puts a condition here. He says, you visit, otherwise an atheist can go and visit Karbala, no doubt. It can be something, for example, for tourists to go to. It's beautiful. Yet there's a condition Imam al-Sadiq puts. He says, من زار جدي الحسين عارفا بحقه. He who visits my grandfather Hussein, recognizing his value. What does it mean to recognize the value of Imam Hussein? It's unfortunate. Today you come to the people, they'll ask him, why do you cry? You'll ask him, what is Karbala about? He'll tell you, is it simply about a man who wanted to get water for his children, and he was on a horse, and he fell from it, somebody came and killed him? Is that all we're crying about? As in, if that's what I was crying about, I can go and cry about Titanic. It was sad, right? I can go and cry about Braveheart, about Gladiator. All of these, I can cry about them. But Karbala is something more than that. Karbala is significant. Karbala was able to balance not only emotion, but practicality as well. So that when I cry about the decapitated hand of Abu Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, it's not simply a hand that fell on the sands. No, much more than that. It's a hand of the bearer of the flag of Islam, A man who sacrificed his life for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once I understand that, then I'll understand the mission of Karbala. Because notice throughout history, how many people have been influenced by Karbala. It's unbelievable. You're not even talking about Muslims here. Forget Muslims, put them on the side. You have people who are Hindu, Buddhists, Gandhi in his Salt March, in his first march when he was going against the British occupation, do you know how many soldiers he took with him? 72. Gandhi. They asked him why. He told them, because the 72 of Hussein were eternal. I want my 72 to be eternal as well. He says, تَعَلَّمْتُ مِنَ الْحُسَيْنِ كَيْفَ أَكُونُ مَظْلُومًا فَأَنْتَصِرُ. I learned from Hussein. This is a non-Muslim. He's not Muslim here. But because the message of Imam Hussein was universal, it was able to affect him, right? He says, تَعَلَّمْتُ مِنَ الْحُسَيْنِ كَيْفَ أَكُونَ مَظْلُومًا فَأَنْتَصِرُ. I learned from Hussein how to be oppressed, yet still be victorious. So number one, Karbala completed what came before it. Number two, Karbala was a preservation to what came before it as well. How's that? You find Rasulullah, he comes and says, Husaynun minni wa ana min Husayn. Husayn is from me, and I am from Husayn. Ahabba Allah min ahabba Husayn. Husayn is from me. We understand. Husayn is from you, Ya Rasulullah. In the sense that he's your grandson, and his mother is your daughter. We understand how Husayn can be from Rasulullah. Yet how does Rasulullah say, wa ana min Husayn? And I am from Husayn. Rasulullah, how are you a part of Husayn? What does this mean? This means that through Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the mission of Rasulullah became preserved. It was completed. Not completed. Islam was completed with Rasulullah through Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, where he says, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. It was completed far before Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Yet what Imam Hussein did, he preserved it. I remember when I was in 9th grade, many years ago, I'm joking, it was about last year. He says that I was in my class and the teacher was speaking about Imam Hussein. So he says, so he was speaking about how Rasulullah and the companions of Rasulullah had a big effect on Islam. I raised my hand, his name was Mr. Sayan. I told him, Mr. Sayan, how about Imam Hussein? What was the role of Imam Hussein in preserving the religion of Islam? He said, don't give the credit to Imam Hussein. I told him, what do you mean? Calm down. He said, don't give it to Imam Hussein. Who do I give it to? He says, give it to the companions after Rasulullah. I told him, no doubt. They had a effect, negative or positive, we can debate that later on. But he says, don't give the credit to Imam Hussein. I told him, why is that? He said, because those who came after Rasulullah are the ones who preserved it. I told him, let me tell you what the position of Imam Hussein is in Islam. We don't say that Imam Hussein completed the religion. Neither do we say that Imam Hussein began it. We say that Rasulullah planted the seed. All Imam Hussein did, he came and watered it. And what do you mean by that? I told him, Rasulullah, he planted the seed of Islam. Yet it's the Imams that preceded him who continued it and allowed it to become this valuable religion. I ask you a simple question. How do we expect Islam to be preserved if the very companions of Rasulullah after his death abandoned his body, abandoned his grave, and went searching for governmental positions in Saqifa? I ask you, how is it supposed to be preserved if grandsons of Rasulullah didn't come and preserve it? It's impossible. We wouldn't have Islam today, I tell you, if it wasn't for Ahlul Bayt. With the blessings of Rasulullah and the blessings of Amir al-Mu'mineen. We wouldn't have it. Or we would have it, but it would be such a manipulated version that it wouldn't even be Islam anymore. I portray to you a simple example. You have a sect who negated the Ahlul Bayt, correct? They negated the Ahlul Bayt. To such an extent that the religion that they have today was able to be manipulated, right, and infiltrated to such an extent that besides killing somebody, taking you to hell, it takes them to heaven. Not only that, but you have dinner with Rasulullah. You have dinner with Rasulullah. Why? Because they negated the lineage that came after Rasulullah. And for me to understand Islam, I need to understand those who came after it. Therefore, it was, no doubt, preserved by Karbala. And number 3, Islam and the Battle of Karbala represented a sense of motivation. Motivation to the people, even those who came before it. And I ask me, what do you mean by that? Do you know every single prophet passed by the land of Karbala and fell on the same place where Imam Hussein alayhi salam fell, to the extent where their blood was mixed with his? Every prophet. Ismail bin Hasqil, Bani Israel tortured him to such an extent. This may sound graphic, but they ripped the skin off his face. They came to him. While he's being tortured by Bani Israel, Jibreel comes to him. The same way Jibreel came to Ibrahim when he was being thrown in the fire, he came to Ismail bin Hasqil. And he told him, Ya Ismail, Allah has ordered me to come and help you. Do you want me to remove this affliction from you, remove this oppression? He said, no, keep it. What do you mean keep it? He said, Li bil Hussein ibn Ali uswatun hasana. He said, let me feel some of the pain that Imam Hussein felt and will feel on the 10th of Muharram. This is a prophet who came thousands of years before Karbala. Understand this. Adam cried about Imam Hussein. Nuh cried about Imam Hussein. Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, every prophet remembered Imam Hussein. Why? The question is why? Simply because it was sad? No, they understood it. How's that? Because they said, oh Allah, after us, Ahlul Bayt will be coming. And if we aren't able to continue this mission of ours, we won't be able to reach it to Ahlul Bayt. Notice how they use the Ahlul Bayt as a sense of continuity. We said, oh Allah, if our mission stops here, if we are killed, for example, when Nuh was about to drown in the Safina, he said, oh Allah, through Ahlul Bayt, I want you to save me. Even today, if you go to Russia, you'll find museums who have a piece of the wood of the Ark of Nuh. On this piece of wood, they found 5 names written. Muhammad, Ali, Fatima, Hassan, Hussein. Of course, it wasn't written in Arabic. It was written in some ancient language. But after excessive study and examination of this piece of wood, they came with the results that the 5 names of Ahlul Bayt were written on this piece of wood, on the Ark of Nuh. He says, oh Allah, through these 5 names, since they're the greatest of creations that you have sent to mankind, I want you to give me salvation. I want you to save me. Why? So I can reach this message to Ahlul Bayt. Therefore, when I come and remember Karbala, it's not simply a man who fell off a horse. It's not simply a man who wanted to bring war from one side of the opposition to the other. It's a whole mission. It's a whole message and agenda that began ever since the day of Adam. Karbala wasn't the beginning. The theme that I'm speaking about, inshallah, for these upcoming nights is, was Karbala the beginning or the end? Many people come and tell you that Karbala was the end, that's it, it's over. No, Karbala was the beginning. Imam Hussein alayhi salam died so he can invigorate our lives, so he can energize us. And it's for that reason we find that every prophet cried about Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Zakaria, he came to Allah and he told him, Ya Allah, I want you to teach me the 5 names referring to Ahlul Bayt. He told me, tell me the names. He told him, he began with the Prophet. He said, Hassan. He said, Muhammad, Ali, Fatima, Hassan, Hussein. He told him, whenever, oh Allah, why is this happening to you? Whenever I mention the first 4 names, I feel calm. I feel relaxed. I feel tranquil. Yet the moment I mention the last name, for some reason I go into a state of depression. Tears begin to fall down from my eyes. Why? What's going on? He revealed to him the following surah. Kaf ha ya ayn sad. So Allah, what do these verses mean? He told him, فَأَمَّا الْكَافِ فَهِيَ كَرْبَلَا. He told him, as for the letter Kaf in Surah Maryam, represents the land of Karbala. He told him, فَأَمَّا الْهَا فَهِيَ هَلَاكِ الْعَتْرَةِ الطَّاهِرَةِ. He told him, فَأَمَّا الْهَا. It represents